The party have returned from the mountains, back into civilization, but is everything as civilized as it should be? They undertake a mission, but perhaps bite off more than they can chew. And the greatest threat is that which is veiled and shows its head at the end. Is this one going to be more than they can handle? Something that they can't fight with swords? Hit it. You carried on in that town, session 22.
Yep.
From the town where it was all left off, where the whole Templar and brigand silliness went down.
Yeah.
And Blacktail's joined the group as a member now.
Yes. Well, I'm going to only see how far this can take us.
Very powerful stats.
Yes, so that's what worries me.
You met somebody. He approached you guys and introduced himself as Mendonic Holes.
Yeah.
A merchant, travelling merchant with a couple of wagons. And he had some nice alcoholic goods, and he said, look, all you can drink and 15 silver a day if you want to escort my caravan. How about it? So he said, all right then, we'll do that. We'll ride our horses alongside and, you know, Gangnam style alongside the thing. So,
oh dear.
That's what you did. And it's pretty much uneventful through the day. And then night time comes. And you decide who's going to take watch. And Tenador takes the first watch. And then all the watches are watching. Then
but who's watching the watches?
Who watches the watchman? And Blacktail stays up with Karak on his watch. And Blacktail notices something. He becomes a bit disturbed by the approaching presence.
Yes, there are squirrels.
Several presences coming through the forest at you in dead of night.
We're in a forest.
It's
Tanadil,
woods.
Yeah, Tanadil automatically thinks it's badgers.
Well, yeah.
Because that's his running gimmick with it.
He has his problem, doesn't he? Ugh, badgers? No, brigands. Oh, phew.
Yes, more brigands in the woods.
Now they attacked, and their attack wasn't really intensive, was it?
No.
They were more playing about, weren't they? Distracting you, jumping onto roofs.
Yes.
Getting you to chase them, and everyone got together and started combating them, but they all broke away and got away in the end. But then Holes is checking his wagons to see if anything had been stolen, and nothing had. Then he went to his special compartment, where he keeps his special goods. And it had been opened. Someone had known his true treasure was in there, which was a beautiful gem that was worth
quite a lot of money.
Lot of money to him. And he'd purchased it. He was just trying to transport it from A to B. And somehow they knew where to look and take it. So, you know, he said, look, set on after them. Oh my gosh, that's what I've hired you for. So you go after them.
Yes.
Into the woods.
Yes, in the dead of night.
That didn't work out too well, did it?
No.
So you start finding traps and things. There was a wire trap, and there's what other types of traps were there? There was a tripwire trap.
Hole traps.
Yes, there was. Oh, the guy loved them ones.
Yes. Well, the tripwire wasn't so much as a.
It was a tripwire.
Yeah, literally, just a trip over.
A wire to trip you. That's what it was.
That's the problem. It didn't do nothing else.
It was to slow you.
Yeah, I think there was also some caltrops.
Oh, there was wooden caltrops. That's right. Yes, that was nice.
Ow, my toes, my toes.
Yeah, does anyone know what reference that is? Oh, Lord, we're getting really obscure now. Comment below if you know what it is. My toes, my toes! Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Amelia wasn't in her armour at this point. All she was in her flipping gym jams at this particular instance.
Yes, so it's not...
Because she was the one who just got up out in the middle of the night. It's like...
Yeah, Amelia's...
What the hell?
Stepped on Caltrops as well, which isn't fun for her. She doesn't have her shod boots on.
Yes, she actually managed to avoid them because the only two who took any damage from them were Karak and Phelan.
So, you lost all scent of them. It went on to a common track or something like that, wasn't it?
Hunting track, I think it was, something like that. I think you mentioned it was.
It wasn't going to be easy, especially in the night.
Yeah, especially since we also had giant rats showing up.
No, that was later.
Right.
So you went back to the camp and you slept the rest of the time away with the intent of getting on after them in the morning. Holes was quite upset about it all. So then you went out...
Yes, he was quite hysterical.
You went out after them in the morning. You went hunting. Now, eventually, from wandering about, you got an inkling of where you think they might be. It helped having the dog there.
Yes.
Big time.
This particular way round, it did help.
It was unlike Uth. Baris are very clever.
Much more so.
Basically, it's a human companion at that point.
Yeah.
With bad breath.
Yes, but then again, all Ferelden smells like wet dog in the first place, so no one cares.
Yes, well, you saying things like that, I don't think you're going to end up with a half-eaten bone left in your backpack in the camp. In the day, you were getting a bit of a better chance. You got onto the
we could actually see where their tracks were at this point.
You heard the squeaking sounds, very, very loud, and you pursued that sound and came out into a section where a fallen elk was being consumed by giant rats.
Yes.
And the rats didn't take kindly to that.
Oh, yeah.
They
like us
because
showing
they're
up.
giant rats, they get a bit sort of above their station, don't they? They think we is big.
Yeah, we're
we can
big.
have them.
Yeah.
More dinner.
Yeah.
It's like if spiders, you know, everyone says, "Oh, spiders are harmless."
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Increase it to 50 feet and then say that. Because that thing will be after you.
Yeah, have you not seen any sort of like, I don't know, some horror film with it happening in it?
It's going to, because it's a hungry monster. It's just too small, really.
Yeah.
To gobble you up.
Oh, and even the small ones aren't harmless, per se, anyway, if they bite you.
Well, they've all got an element of venom.
Yeah, but some of them have a lot more poisonous venom than others.
Yep. Poisonous to us, that is.
Yes, in the case of other insects, it just meant to paralyse them.
And
the like. Or other smaller mammals or something.
So that they can eat them slowly, stick their straw in and suck out their juices. I got a fly shake. So,
oh dear.
Anyway, then you dispatched the rats pretty easily.
There wasn't much point worrying too much about them.
It was pretty much just like, oh, throw 6 at once. Yeah, okay, throw 8 at once. Who gives a shit anymore? You kill them in one hit and they're dead.
Yeah.
They couldn't. I mean, the idea was going to be that if you missed enough, then there'd be enough all piling up. But it just got stupid. You're all so very accurate and hitting them, and that's
well, they weren't that hard to hit.
So you took them down, and that was that. That was the end of that. Just a minor. It was
a minor skirmish.
It wasn't so much an encounter to like test you and make you lose health.
No.
It was an encounter to expose you to other denizens of the world, and to help you make the forest trip more memorable.
Yeah.
That it wasn't just a forest you went through.
With wolves.
It was...
And brigands.
It was the one with the giant rats encounter.
Basically, giant rat dead.
You see?
Codex entry, giant rat.
There we go. Exactly. Exactly. That's the whole point, isn't it? You hadn't filled that in your codex yet, had you?
No, we hadn't.
And so, that's opened it up. In some respects, I should give experience for codex entries.
Yes, but remember, there were only like 25 points in the game as well.
No, that would be hilarious, wouldn't it? You meet a new thing, and you get experience. Wow.
Yes, remember, codex entries only apply if you manage to kill it.
Then you've got codex entries for places and things, though.
That's either entering the area or finding a nice little informational plaque that tells you about it to get the codex entry.
Quick, read the plaque. Must learn Morse. So, then, you carried on past that. Eventually, came upon a farm.
Yes.
And upon closer inspection, and you did inspect closer, you had the option not to.
What else we did?
You found, I think it was a dead dog.
Dead dog?
At the gate, and dead workers.
Yes. An old man inside the building.
And you said, oh, we've been here before.
Yeah.
We've done this before. Back in the...
Winter.
Yep. What it actually turned out, after talking to the old man who had been beaten up pretty bad...
Yeah.
He said that his son has gone off the rails.
With the brigands.
Gone mad, gone off with the brigands, and kidnapped his sister, the old man's daughter, and taken her for God knows what sort of bloody ritual he's mixed up in. And they said, well, how did it all start? And he explained, oh, it was, since he found these stones and he's been changing since then. By the way, they are now started mission. As soon as they picked up the gem, it was bound in stone.
Yeah.
Which is a player-created adventure. You can find it in the player-created adventures list. And it was just another thing to give the players to sort of let them experience further elements of the world, to give them a bit more experience in stuff.
Just a bit of exposure to the world in general.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, it's with these kind of like player-created ones, there's always the danger of, it could all be a bit random to the theme of your campaign, but your campaign doesn't always need to keep to the same theme, because that would be potentially unrealistic if something had the same theme, because that wouldn't really happen.
Yeah.
Unusual elements would occur that you have to, like tangents that you have to deal with. So, as long as you know where it's like when you're ending, and as long as there's woven threads within it, it only has to thread. It doesn't have to concretely be.
It's like when you're playing an MMO and you go to a new zone. Every town, village, area, blah blah, is a little quest hub, and you have the whole quest going around it. That just doesn't seem very realistic, does it? Really, to be honest.
No.
Like that's going to happen. Like everybody in town has something for you to do, and it's all right nearby.
Yeah.
For you to gain experience, so you can then move on to the next area.
Well, you've been doing it very seamless. You do A, and it leads you to B, and then from B you pick up something that leads you to C. So it's nice when you can.
And then C can send you to D, but you don't get something until you get further on to say F.
It's good. Yeah. And then then there are those woven complexities, aren't they? That only pick up later down the line and so on.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more organic. True. And that's really what you want to achieve, to get away from that computer gamey feel. Right. So the old man. It was decided in the conversation that he'd take you to where he thinks the stones are.
Yes, I think it was more of a case of him insisting because he was the only one who actually knew where they were, and we couldn't find them by ourselves.
Well, he would have drawn a map, but you could see that you were adventurers of a good sort. People that like to put right the things that are wrong.
Oh, I guess you could say it that way. Yeah.
You set on out after them to the place, and you came to this summoning stone ritual. There's the 5 stones around. The middle one's got a gap in it, and I remember what you said. Oh, does it just happen to be the right size for that gem that was missing?
Yeah. Of course, I'm saying this out of character.
Yeah. And it was, of course.
I knew it.
And the poor girl.
The girl's tied up to it, isn't she?
Yes, she's tied up to a post just in front of it, or behind it, beside it. Yeah. And the stones are all there, and then there's the cultists there in their robes. And now in the original one, it was actually made as a rage demon, and it was focused as rage. But a lot of the chaps on the forums had manipulated it and thought that it served better as a desire, especially the fact that it was a brother-sister as well, because it's always all rage all the time with these things. So it was a bit interesting.
It's majoritively rage, and the only time desire ever rears its head is when someone wants power.
Yes.
Or
yes.
something along similar to what desire can give. It's basically like greed from Full Metal Alchemist. He wants everything because he has greed of everything, not just one specific thing.
Now, the thing with this was, upon entering the area, all of the team instantly felt this, like, element come over them. They felt, like, strangely sensuous.
Yeah.
The story behind it all was that there had been a apostate group years ago called the Druids of Dane, and they had conducted these rituals, ended up with a great big desire demon on their hands.
Yeah.
Fought it, couldn't stop it, so had to separate its two parts. They bound one section into a gem, and they bound the other into the stone.
Yeah.
And there was about to be a ceremony where the brother was about to kill the sister with a nice big ceremonial dagger. She's naked, he's naked under his robes. It's all a bit dodgy, that. And,
yeah, that's extremely dodgy in the first place.
We're confronted with a situation where, basically this stone had taken over people's minds.
The entire lot of them.
And it got them to say, look, the gem is close. It's coming to us. Is fated.
Yes, we shall release the mistress at once.
So bring the gem here and make me whole.
Yeah.
So there had to be insertion and there had to be,
sacrifice.
I suppose.
The fact is desire can mean desire for power, money, fame.
Yes.
Whatever.
But the only problem was here.
Yeah.
Was that it was nakedness. And weird awkwardness.
Yes.
So,
very weird awkwardness.
Weird, not just awkwardness. Weird awkwardness.
Yes.
Weird goodness.
Oh dear.
Yes. So you just start attacking. Now the guy, you're able to actually talk him out of it and snap him round.
Yeah.
And you did. The old man did. You still killed him anyway, though.
Of course.
He was on your side when he died.
Well, we didn't know that.
He turned.
Yeah, well, guess what? We didn't know that. So what are we going to do?
You killed him.
Exactly.
You all ganged up and...
Well, Tannadil disarmed him. Then I killed him. But the fact then remained was, would that have been permanent? Because even if someone snaps out of something, there's always a chance during the same encounter that they can snap straight back into it.
Well, anyway, he was down and they were in trouble and they thought, right, okay, look, he's changed his mind. He's got weak on us. One of the cultists got hold of the gem himself.
Yeah.
And slit his own throat.
Yep.
And brought the ceremony to a quicker occurrence. Now, because it was done in an enforced manner, haphazardly, it summoned the creature in a very weakened state.
Yes, very weakened state.
Had you taken your time, I was very, very carefully checking how much diversionary stuff you were going to be doing, if any. Whether you were going to be saying, no, we'll rest first at the farm, and all this kind of thing.
No, the fact is, one, we didn't need it.
Or any other thing that might take time, longer.
Yeah. I think you weren't going to start penalising us by throwing random encounters in, which you could have done if you wanted to.
But it was
to test to see if we would either skip something or what.
But it was going to be, if any reason like that, you definitely could have already missed it. And the full demon's just been summoned, and you would have to face it in full power mode.
Yes, well...
Which would not have been funny, I might add. That would have been a fight.
Yes, well, you know what the silly thing is? Being what Amelia is, she was kind of tempted to pick up the gem and semi-finish the ritual in a way, if you will. By putting the gem in the hole. Don't know what that would have done.
Why?
You know, kill it properly.
What, summon it fully?
Because if we've only partially summoned it in the first place, it's not going to be dead yet.
in its half form, you took it out, and that was fairly easy. You'd made it easy by screwing it over.
Yeah, which we always do.
You always managed to do. Do you remember, against the Zorton Throg Simulacrum, straight into the room, okay, your secret weapon is this thing, right? Round one, poof. Okay,
yeah, but that being fucked over in a different way.
Okay, right, game's over in turn 1.
Yes.
I've just shot the incense.
That was fucked over in a completely different way, because Pete was being a bit silly.
Yes, well.
And forgot to forget about something.
Forgot to forget.
I mean, Amelia, well, I played the whole Wizard's Tower thing as well, so I was just deciding, okay, since Craig and Jez are the only ones who haven't, I want them to guess what's going to occur. I don't want to jump in and start making stuff happen. It's not my place.
Yeah. And it's not really Amelia's type of mind, anyway, to realise things like that.
No, not really.
She's not sharp in that way. It's not something she's really trained yet to deal with. And her anti-mage thing, she doesn't have a lot of experience.
Well, let's put it this way.
With advanced mage.
Well, let's put it this way.
Like that.
If she was a level 10 Templar, as in master degree of Templar's focus, talent, whatever, and we had fought Zorton Frogger that way, then she might have been able to figure it out after maybe 1 or 2 shots of the incense burners going off. But even then, she may have needed a test on arcane lore to figure it out.
Well, anyway, after all of that, you made your way back to the capital city, and you gave your debrief to Ban Nicola, explaining about what that rogue leader had told you.
Yes.
And giving the real first indications that...
a blight is coming!
Well, yeah, the fact that there are so many hordes in the south. Now, connected to the Palace of Denerim is the Grey Warden's base of operations.
Yep.
In Ferelden. And that just happens to be their base of ops there. You had a knocking at the door.
Who does knock without?
And all 4 of you in there in your collective house.
Yeah.
And somebody rather well known from the lore is at the door.
Yes.
It was Grey Warden Duncan. You know, guy that recruited the hero Ferelden and Alistair. Only him.
Yes. Yes, no one important, really.
No. He said that he'd heard about your report.
Yes,
wanted to get it first hand.
Our little exploits.
Yes, about the Darkspawn, and he'd heard that you'd stopped Eopa in the mountains, but he was curious about these reports in the south. And of course, you have had other reports that have said that we've having to push north, because this is happening. In fact, the plague undead mutation thing that affected you all in the Chastened, was as a result of
Amber Rage.
Was as a result of them pushing north.
Yes,
yes,
they were trying
to. Ferelden.
Yes, they were. Weren't the Chastened trying to stop the Darkspawn by reintroducing the Amber Rage or some crap? But it didn't work out that way, did it?
It's creating a circle of negativity down there. It's not just one thing it affects, is it? It's lots of other elements, and that's just the early stages.
Oh yeah. We're nowhere near the full-scale incursion yet.
It's not anything what you would call, it's definitely a blight at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you are on a blight even before an archdemon manifests above ground. At that point, but it's still, it's... because they come up kind of a bit later, don't they? During it. So... anyway.
It's just that when they wake up, all the Darkspawn group towards it and then attack. And we know who woke this one up. It was the Architect from Dragon Age Awakenings.
Yes, well, I thought you were going to say it's one of Tanadal's farts, but...
Yes, well, maybe that too.
You spoke to him a bit, and he was very impressed with the group, although a little bit disturbed by Carrick and Tanadil's...
I think more Tanadil, because he kept calling him chicken.
He said, that you're wearing a chicken on there. And he said, no, it's a griffin. Yeah.
Looks like a chicken.
Looks like a chicken.
Chicken Dunkin' chicken. Kept calling him those. One way round the other, it didn't really matter. Amelia was just freaking...
And Carrot was taking the piss a bit as well, really, just going along with it. They're real dicks, aren't they?
Yes, yes. I think, considering how this particular adventure went, I think they're prepared to just watch the world burn.
He left, went back to his business, and then...
we had another introduction.
Yes, while you were out on the streets, a servant came up to you. Now, this servant, she was old.
Yeah.
And she is the servant of Segreta. And she says, look, I'm worried that I'm going to be put out of a job here. I'm being blamed. If I tell you this, will you help? There's a situation where my mistress is being blackmailed. And it was a case of, can you get to the root of this? Because she thinks I gave out the information that, that she's guilty of. That they've got on her. Can you look into who might be trying to blackmail her?
Yeah.
You never would have thought that it would have opened up that can of worms, would you?
No!
This is the one where the big campaign arc twist happens. So here we go, guys.
We're getting to the end of the season.
So you figured out that the only people she had told about her mistress's secret
was us.
Was yourselves and the chantry. The small one.
Yeah.
Andraste's ear.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, let's remember that the priests and priestesses, they listen to your confessions in a confession box and write them down. And then they put them in the box. They never can speak them because they're mute. They've had their tongues removed at a young age. They're cultist victims. Still tongue cultist victims. Brought into the chantry through Ban Nicola. And they are all supposed to be burnt at the end of the week. Well, you went to that chantry, didn't you?
Yep.
Found a cat.
A Tevinter
statuette of a cat.
Mm.
There as well, near the confession booths. And you...
Speaking of which, all the archdemons are named after Tevinter gods. Because they were dragon worshippers.
Mm-hmm.
So, the actual archdemons are the original dragons, which are the forms of the Tevinter gods. Because the Tevinter worship the dragons.
From a bit of pressing and pushing here, you got the mother of the chantry to confess all.
With a little bit of an empathy check.
Yeah. You said, look, let us help you. Tell us what the problem is. Maybe we can do something.
Of course, it turns out that the mother herself is being blackmailed.
Mm-hmm. For something she'd done in the past. So, she explains that all this time, she hasn't actually been burning the real confessions and sending them up to Andraste. So, even though people are relieved of their burdens once they've confessed.
Yeah.
She's actually been...
And Amelia's confessed here too.
Yeah.
So we know there's a little bit of an issue going on here.
Yeah. All the people that have confessed here are the ones potentially being blackmailed. So, she admits, yes, the ones I'm burning are just plain. And you guys said, well, what are you doing with the real confessions? And she's saying, I put them in a box and I leave them out the back. And they are collected by the alley, by someone.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then, they keep my secret. And she felt awful about it. So, that was a confession and a half. So you lied in wait.
Oh, yeah.
For this person. And this person came, picked up the box
in
the hiding place. And you thought, no, let's leave it and see where he goes.
Yeah.
So you followed him.
Now, before any of this, however, because we had some downtime between it, Amelia picked up some leather armour and left her plate back.
Oh, that's right. Black leather armour. Yes.
Yeah, she left her plate back at the house.
Yes.
You know, on the little armour stand. Although when she comes back from, when she ends up in the Templars, she'll probably be coming back with a Templar version of the full plate. So it looks more like a dress. A metal dress. That would be interesting.
Of course, there's different grades of metal now as well, which affect the armour rating.
Yeah.
Followed him, and then he came to a elf apple seller lady with her cart and handed it off to her, and they did a little bit of secret thingamy-thoo, and he picked up an apple and went off. Then she was about to go off with her cart, took the package and put it under her cart, and then she was set on by some unsavoury types.
Oh, as you do, as you do, as you do.
Dragged her into an alley.
Yep.
And Karak went down there.
Yep.
So that the rest of you could keep your cover. So Karak confronted them and managed to persuade them out of it with a bit of bravado and
like
spell.
Arcane blast at your foot.
Spell powery type stuff, and they backed off and said, "Look,
oh, he's a mage. Don't want to mess with a mage."
Yeah, exactly. It's not worth our bloody time. So, he apologised and for their behaviour and let her get on her way and stuff. And so,
so there's the thing. If Paydar was still around, he probably would have gone straight in there and started killing people,
or joined in.
Well, he probably would have killed them and then done his same thing himself.
She's mine.
Exactly.
Yes. Mind you, she was an elf, not a human. So.
Yes, and we all know what that would have entailed in the end of things.
Because it was pointed out, you can't kill humans in the defence of an elf. It's against the King's law.
Although you can get away with it in the computer game. If you can't get away with, you have one of the other rogues pick someone's pocket.
You managed to get the tracking going again, the stakeout, followed her on her course, and she did a handoff to another guy. And this other guy, I think that was the last guy, wasn't it, with it?
Yes, because it was at he was at the entrance of the alienage.
And then he goes into a house eventually.
Yes, but the elf, she doesn't go to the alienage. She goes to the alienage to drop the package off, but then she goes into another part of town.
So you were saying, is that the fake package? Is it the real one? We'll have to assume that is the real one she's just handed off and follow that.
Of course, this guy sees Karak.
Yeah, so he speeds up a bit.
And Karak does the old walks past the guy, evening, routine, making it look nonplussed about things.
Yeah.
Like he's not actually following him.
He's like the guy's hurried up at this point and got quickly to his house. Now you roughly figured out where that house is, and it's got like a back alley entrance. So you go into that alley, and you find a growling Mabari.
Yeah.
And you sort of back out, and you try and get Blacktail head towards him to try and lure him out, and he won't come out. And you try luring him out with sausages or something, and that doesn't work.
And then screw this, crossbow.
So you basically, you shoot the thing dead before it can do anything. And
poor Ripper.
And then you enter the building. And you'd been somewhat noisy because someone upstairs had watched you down below.
Yeah.
So you'd gone in and you'd met the guy there. And he had a crossbow pointed at you.
And I had a sword pointed at him.
Yeah, and, he told you to bugger off out of the house and you said, no, come on, where's the package? Who do you work for? It all came down to that in the end and asking all these questions.
There was even a silliness out of character of Jez doing the whole silly Austin Powers reference. Who does number 2 work for? I think it was Jez who did that one. It might have been Craig. I'm not sure. It was one of them.
No, Jez hadn't seen Austin Powers.
So it must have been Craig then, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we were like, you haven't seen Austin Powers. You'd surrounded him.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't going to talk to us. He was only going to talk to the watch. And then to get the watch, get the law in here.
Yep. That was his stance.
Palin, go get them then.
Yep.
Take your time. Don't have to go too fast.
Karak and Blacktail searched upstairs.
Yes.
And Karak found a wardrobe with women's clothes in.
2 different sizes.
Now that's strange straight away. And the guy sleeps downstairs in the servants' quarters.
Yes. Apparently that's his master.
Yes.
His master's room or whatever.
Or is it mistress?
Mm-hmm.
So, who's...
But then again, considering how this went, everybody who's in this chain has a master. So it's a master of a master of a master of a master of a master.
Until you get to the one at the very top, pulling all the strings.
Exactly.
We'll get to that, guys. So, then, didn't find any evidence upstairs. Blacktail's sniffing at the basement door and pushes it open with his great big paw.
But he's just that strong.
Well, it was able to counter the force of the lock enough because it was weak and old. So down there, he spotted a barrel had been moved aside to reveal a trapdoor. So you guys pretty much you had
Carrigan was down there only.
Yeah, Carrot was down there with Blacktail. Opened it up, got Blacktail to have a sniff down
and
there. There was some sort of sigil went off.
Yeah. Boom.
Proximity mine.
Yeah.
Flash of magic and then blast. So it was, it wasn't too bad. They just
my eyebrow's still there, says Karak.
Yeah.
Yes, your eyebrows are still there. Can't say the same for the dog though. So yes, Karak has Cheese, the hawk, and Blacktail the dog.
You guys came down, knocked out the guy up above, so that he wouldn't be a problem, and went on down into the underground system.
Yep.
And gave chase to whoever it was that was bloody
messing about with us,
doing a run for it. So you ran for a while, and you came to a room on your right, which was the Whispering Circle room.
Whispering Circle room.
And it's where
stuff happens.
Whoever's leading all of this operation divines the location for Mother Brianna's victims.
Well, Mother Brianna was dead.
But before Brianna was dead,
yes,
that's where it went on. And there was blood marked on a giant map across the floor of Denerim on those 4 house locations that had last been hit.
Yes, and there was the newest ones that were put down as well, right?
The ones that you'd just done, including Turn Street, which is where you went.
Yeah.
So you knew that this instantly tied into the Chantry of the Still Tongue. And at this point, I bet Amelia was freaking out, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was a bit like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. And then you started getting hit by some glyphs of paralysis that were left on the floor. Well, Blacktail did.
Yes.
Got stuck.
Twice.
Yeah, and then in a different one further along, eventually. But I guess his nose got stuck first.
Like, doink. Or?
Get stuck by the nose. Because your nose would have touched it first.
It would have stuck to the floor by his nose. Stiff. It's like licking a lamppost in winter.
So then there was a cell where it looked like prisoners were normally kept in manacles and that, but no one was in there. And you came to that, but you just carried on down through this underground tunnel, and then you came to what could only be described as a torture chamber, complete with oven to heat up the implements.
Yes.
At this point, it's looking pretty grisly, isn't it? I mean, this is the act of a mortal. This isn't even like a demon.
Yeah.
This is how bad human could be.
Yeah.
Wickedness. Then you come to a portcullis, which is down. And so the 3 of you, with your combined strength, managed to lift it, Karak gets underneath and ties the rope off
Mm-hmm.
in an up position, so the portcullis stays up.
It's like one of us grips underneath. I think it was like you described it as Amelia got the grip on the bottom of it, managed to lift it up. Tannadill, getting underneath, put his entire weight onto it to keep it up.
Mm-hmm. And Karak slides under and then ties it off.
Yeah.
Now,
Because Tannadill's the tallest of us all, so
yeah.
he was actually naturally the strongest before we had might onto account.
Mm-hmm.
So he could actually keep it up a lot easier than me. I mean, Amelia's got 3 strength, but she's got might, meaning that if it's a might test, then she counts as 5.
Mm-hmm. Then you came to the end of the tunnel, which terminated in another trapdoor in the top.
With
now,
kind of those steps going up.
Yes, and there had been sacks piled on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty heavyish ones.
Yeah.
Now, instead of silliness of rolling and stuff, it was Amelia that was trying to push it up, and she has aforesaid might.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had it that it worked enough to push them off because of said might.
Yep.
Sometimes you just have to say, you have the focus, I'll let it just work.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to do that, just for the focus. Because it really, really helps the players hit home how important their role is.
Yeah.
Just likewise, sometimes it's recommended to not let someone do something if they don't have the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could be stealing the show on something that you can do, that you've actually spent the focus on.
Basically, let's put it this way. Amelia can't just go around with the lockpicks and start picking the locks.
Mm-hmm.
When said Phelan here probably has the focus in lockpicking.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Although considering the background I've kind of worked out with you for Amelia, it would be surprising if she did happen to have...
So you pushed it off, and there was a woman running away.
Mm-hmm.
So you gave chase.
Now, Carrick tried to do his best impersonation of the guy's voice.
Yeah, that didn't work.
No. Amelia and Blacktail,
So
straight out the trapdoor.
Going after him. You're doing running tests and things like that.
That was a good thing I left the plate behind.
Yeah. Yes.
That would have penalised me the fuck.
Here it would, because if she got away, that'd have been a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have potentially come to a dead end in your investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's always dangerous in an adventure, isn't it? Do you allow that dead end to persist, or do you find some way that your players can pick it back up again? Well, you know, it depends how badly they failed, I think. If they fail due to a bad die roll, then maybe it's not so good to let it come to a dead end. If they fail due to a poor decision,
Yeah.
that's not so bad. You can come away from that not really feeling guilty. It's just an organic end. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, it didn't organically end.
Yep.
You called her.
Like, straight down.
And who did it happen to be?
Marissa!
Marissa, your contact who hands out all of your missions.
Yes. Oh, why did I get this big point? Oh, you don't have to be so rough.
Yeah.
My reaction was, oh, I am not being rough yet. You want to see rough? I can show you rough.
So, yeah, she just wants this whole mess sorted quickly so she can get away. So she just tells you the truth about anything you want to know.
Yeah.
So, she opens up all of it and reveals that there is a huge plot going down, that someone is in fact running all the show, that she's one of the big runners, but she's still only a small fry in the scheme of things.
Yes.
And
she herself has a master that she reports to.
But the head of all of it...
Because she's only an apprentice spy master, if I remember rightly.
Yes. The head of all of it is none other than... Lady Baranti.
Yeah.
And as soon as she started explaining it all made sense, didn't it?
Yep.
All the pieces fit together. And she said, look, it's no good, you can't go after her. She controls too much of the city.
Yeah.
Too much of the city relies on her. The infrastructure, the political network,
and
favours that are owed.
And if we take her down, we go down with her.
She explains that's how politics are done.
And she's got dirt on us too.
Lady Boranti has been orchestrating the Chantry of the Still Tongue to come into power just so that her organisation would be seen to be chasing it off every few years. Thus forwarding her own political position as a successful band to keep her position as a band. And that's just one of her tricks she's playing. Another one being, these adventurers could possibly cause trouble to me. So what I'll do is I'll have them work for me, associate them with my name, and if they ever do find dirt on me, then they'll bring themselves down.
Plus, she's also got dirt on all of us. Most likely.
You can bet that.
I mean, obviously, Karak is an apostate mage.
Yes.
And she knows that for definite. As much as he can try and deny it.
Tanador is still a wanted criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he was in the stocks and released prematurely.
Yeah.
And she probably even knows where Karak Stein is.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing. Now, Marissa told you a few things. She told you that there had been a rumour of a secret room below Lady Boranti's office in the mansion. She gave you another lead. She said she's never investigated or seen it, but she's heard of it.
Yeah. Of course she's only heard of it. Everyone's probably heard of it.
And, told never to go there.
Obviously.
Now, the thing was, Amelia was looking at this as like, this is an enemy I can't fight.
Yeah!
I know how to fight things with my sword and shield, but this is politics now.
I'm out.
Well, yeah, you really do feel your character's plights, don't you?
Yes, I do.
You really do.
Maybe more so than many other people at this.
You take them on board, don't you? And as such, you really were shaken up by this, weren't you? This actually had you.
Yes, it did.
It's like, shit, really? Oh no.
We're fucked.
This is basically the big final arc twist. This is basically the final. This is the big run up to the end of season 1 of Dragon Age. Yeah, the double episode thriller.
Yes, the double episode special.
Yeah. She also said that there was a ball coming up that Branty was organising, and that during that someone was going to be murdered.
Yeah.
But she just wants her lover, her female lover, to be free of all this mess and not be tied up in it. But she knows she is tied up in it somehow, and she wants her out of it. So she said, look, I want to get her out of it and get her out of the city and leave with her. And get away from all this. And that was that. You let her go. And she'd confessed all.
Yeah.
And you were all shocked. And so you go your own...
I think out of all of us, I was the most shocked.
You go your own separate way. Well, it's hard to really gauge what Karak and Tanador thought of it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Tanador's first opinion was to get Duncan Chicken involved. He can sort it out.
His hands are tied.
I'm like, he can't get involved.
Grey Wardens can't jump into politics.
It's out of his jurisdiction, basically.
Whose strings is Lady Brandy pulling? Has she even got something on Kaelin?
Probably.
Jesus Christ.
There's not much about King that is told about in the game, is there?
No, but he's certainly not a very
bright.
Brilliant king, is he? By any means.
Well, realistically, Nora was running the show.
Amelia was wrecked about this, so she decided she was going to handle this her way.
Yep.
But what does she do?
Well, first things first, she's... well, she needs to sort of clear her head out a little bit first. So that means she's going to do something that is probably very much out of her original character description. Probably go get drunk and end up getting into a fight.
Trying to pick a fight, start a fight. Yep. And then one of those same people she got in a fight to take back to her bedroom.
Well, would probably happen. Maybe.
And then wake up with a terrible hangover. And that's the night of it.
Basically, that would probably how it would go.
And then you wake up that morning to news that Marissa's body has been pulled out of the water with heavy head traumas. So, Amelia's next plan is to go see Lady Boranti in person. And we're going to be conducting that separately outside of session, because that's where the actual session ends.
Yeah.
Wow, guys, comments below. It's all come out.
It's all going.
And there's going to be one final session that ends it all.
Yep.
That ends season 1. And then it'll be roll credits and maybe downtime for a little while for the Dragon Age campaign.
Just like we did with...
While it takes a breather.
Just like we were doing with Warfrip, for starters.
It wouldn't be that long.
No, you know what I mean.
Yeah. It would just take a little breather while it says, right, what am I focusing on for Arc 2?
Basically.
Because this would conclude what I set out to do to end Arc 1. We are at it now.
Yes. Depending on how Arc 1 completely ends, we'll define how the group will then begin Arc 2 and what they do in Arc 2, how they're going to go about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I still have no idea. I want to see how it ends as well to get a stronger idea.
I mean, you've probably got basic layout of what things you want to try and throw at us, but how it's going to come about is a different matter. I mean, we've still got the fact that we have Zorton Frog and Damus Arcan's assassins coming after us.
Well, yes.
It doesn't matter if we're with House Boranti or not at this point.
It's pretty much Zorton Throb.
Yeah, he's pretty much pissed at us, so he's going to still try and kill us.
I mean, that's below Damus. On that bombshell, we'll see you next time, guys, for the concluding episode to the entire season.
Yeah.
Until then, take care, and I'll see you at the table.